How's it going, wrestling fans? Thanks for tuning in to the Wrestle Report, episode 22 with Phil and Don. I am Phil.
And I'm Don.
And for the first time ever, with the help of the folks over at StreamYard, we are live for the first time live streaming a Wrestle Report episode. Picked a pretty good weekend to do it. We had a doubleheader of wrestling pay-per-views between NWA's Back to the Attack and WWE Fastlane, which ended about half an hour ago now. So it was a pretty good week of wrestling. I don't know how much of the NWA stuff Don was able to catch because I think he had work earlier. So I'm probably going to cover that. But for now, we are streaming. We are live. Everything seems to be working. This whole operation could crumble at any moment. But for right now, it seems to be working out. If you want to chime in on anything, I have the YouTube page open here where you can comment, tell us what we're doing right, wrong, what you thought about either show or match or anything like that. But other than that, it was a pretty good weekend for wrestling. Had a lot of content out there this weekend. March Madness has taken a lot of the shine for this weekend. My bracket's already busted. I had West Virginia, so they're out. Thanks, Syracuse. But watching Oral Roberts beat Ohio State and Florida in the same weekend has kind of made it worth it anyway. But this isn't a basketball show. It is a wrestling show. But in a weekend that basketball takes center stage, I thought we had a pretty good amount of good wrestling this weekend.
Oh, man. Unfortunately, like you said, I wasn't able to watch the NWA show, but Fastlane was great. I liked it. It was good. It was a good week of wrestling.
Yeah, as far as with the NWA goes, that show was on at like 4 p.m., which some people loved that it didn't have to start super late. They didn't have to choose between that and Fastlane, and it kind of worked out for me. I just happened to be home. I could see how that could be problems for other people. I'll be interested to see how many people ended up buying the show. But it is a show that you could have kind of just bought and watched at your own leisure too. So I think some people are going to end up doing that. So before we get into Fastlane, which will probably be a bulk of the show, I'm going to go ahead and just run through the NWA show. It was just great to see everybody back in the Power Studios. We had 6 matches total. They kind of reversed it, similar like what NXT did and AEW does. They switched the camera angle to where you're almost getting the ramp style, like your hard camera side is different because there's no crowd. They ended up having, I'd say, roughly like 10 or 15 people, whether it be like friends or family of wrestlers, and like in a little sound stage like that, it sounded pretty decent. Like if you didn't see the amount of people, you would have thought there's maybe 50 to 100 people in there. So the 15 to 20 that they had, they were making noise and they were showing out for sure. As I mentioned in the last episode, NWA is this great combination of like guys that you've heard of and like newcomers that you're like gonna learn to like. So it's like you show up for the people you know and then you learn other people. Like for example, in this first match, I mentioned Crimson from TNA. A lot of people would recognize him, and he was in a fatal 4-way match against Jordan Clearwater, which is a guy I'm not familiar with at all. Jax Dane, who's a former NWA world champion, and this guy that is going to be Don's new favorite wrestler, I can already tell. His name is Slice Boogie. And he reminds me a lot of a young Eddie Kingston. He's from New York. He's wearing like the Mets colored gear, and he ended up winning the match. And his finish is like a Kevin Owens almost package pile driver, and it's called the Dead Ass Driver, which I thought hardcore for. So that was a good way to kick off the show. Definitely. The worst match on the show, however, was definitely they had Tyrus, the former, was it Funkasaurus? I forget what his name
Brodus Clay.
Brodus Clay against Kratos, who's a NWA Tag Team Champion. And there's been a lot of hostility of Tyrus getting back in the ring. I guess he had some like accusations on a Fox reporter that he was, less than cordial to or whatever. And he showed up, and not only did he go over, which a lot of people were kind of pissed about, but like he really dragged down the whole match. I don't know that bringing him in, like if he was, motivated and like really trying to turn the public perception of him around, I think it would have been all right. But this was definitely the low point of the show. And then the not TNT champion, the TV championship for the NWA, the Pope Elijah Burke had a time limit draw with Tom Lattimore. What they do with their TV titles is they do on a normal Power episode, you get 6 minutes and 5 seconds, 6:05, the start time of the show. But for pay-per-view, they bumped it to 10:05. So it went to a time limit draw, 10:05. The guys kind of just beat the hell out of each other. It was, I don't know that I love time limit draws, but I could see this just extending their feud a little bit because this show really had no feuds. They kind of had to just start. It's a soft reboot of the whole thing. So they, do what they can to give you a little bit of storyline. So that's one thing that definitely helped with that. Camille beat Thunder Rosa to become the number one contender for the women's championship. That was a very good match. That was really the only match that left the ring. Like, they kind of fought all around the sound stage, which I enjoy when, like, if only one match is going to leave the ring, it makes it feel special. If everybody's fighting all over the ring, doesn't really add to it. So they were really the only ones to leave the ring and get thrown around until the main event. They did a little bit of that. But yeah, Camille ended up winning, took 2 spears, and Thunder Rosa, they never really played up her, like, hardcore match on AEW, potentially being like why she's not 100%. They didn't go that route where they easily could have. I don't know how much they're trying to orchestrate, what she's been doing over there. But it was a great match, definitely. And then you had Trevor Murdoch defend the national championship against Chris Adonis, the former Chris Masters. This was really good. Seeing Chris Masters, Chris Adonis, whatever you want to call him. I don't know how to put this. He's definitely not as big as he used to be, but he looks like he's in better shape. Like, it's a more natural jacked, if you get what I mean. Like, he just seemed like a normal buff guy, not a guy that like, oh, what is he on kind of thing. And Trevor Murdoch got the win, which I was kind of surprised about. I mean, a lot of these champions only recently got their belts, so I could see them. I figured there was going to be one title change just to like give the pay-per-view some. It ended up not being the case. Spoilers for the main event. But yeah, Trevor Murdoch, who's kind of at the twilight of his career and really getting one last go of it as the national champion, and he ended up beating Chris Adonis, shook his hand after, and then Chris leveled him. So he's clearly a heel, which is going to be helpful because they definitely need some heels moving forward. Main event, Nick Aldis defended the NWA championship against Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Mizdow, among many of other names. This match was great. This ended up going spilled outside the ring. So again, if only 2 matches out of 6 leave the ring, it makes it feel like a big deal. And I know it's been a while since you've seen Power, but where they do all their interviews, that like table that they go over to.
Yeah.
So Aldis threw Stevens into that table, and the whole thing just like fell over with him, which was like not something you saw coming. So that was a pretty big spot. And of course, this whole match is predicated on the question mark Joseph Hudson that passed away. Aaron Stevens, very good friends with him. It was very much a tribute match as well as a championship match. Nick Aldis ended up getting the win as typical NWA fashion, where you go the distance, you make a guy look great, and you sneak out with the win. And then afterwards, which it's actually going to be the thumbnail of this video, the whole cast kind of came out. They had the Mongrovian flag that Joseph Hudson's wife was actually holding. Aaron Stevens had the question mark mask in his hand, and they did the little karate sign to sign off the show. So feel good moment. I don't know that it was a great pay-per-view just because the storylines weren't there, but like just as a wrestling show, it was very good. It was very entertaining, and it was great to see like NWA back on the map. And then Tuesday, Power kicks off again, and we'll be off and running.
Oh, that's pretty dope. That's good that they actually was able to do all this. And like you said, there's no storylines going on because they haven't been around. So this is good for the first show. Looking forward to what they're going to do for Power now.
Yeah,
that's gonna be back on YouTube, right?
No, so it's on Fight TV now. They have a deal with that because I imagine they need some revenue as well, and it's like $5 a month for like all any content they're gonna make is gonna be on there for like $5.
Oh, okay.
So so I bought the first month of it. I wanted to check it out. The main thing too is so they're gonna do like a month's worth of tapings like tomorrow and today. I think even when the show went off the air, they just started taping stuff for Power, from what I understand. So the governor of Georgia, where this is shot, they basically said probably by the next time they do tapings, they'll be able to have some form of live audience. So that's really going to help too. Because in a show this like intimate, I think the crowd really matters. So like even just the 15 people they had made a world of difference. So yeah, maybe a month from now when they do another taping, fingers crossed, they'll have, I don't know, maybe 50, 100 people or something like that. So that'll be interesting to see. I was just very happy to see the NWA back. It's it's completely different. There's so much wrestling out there, whether you like Impact or ROH or New Japan or anything else, MLW, they all somewhat blend in with each other, and NWA is just this one completely different flavor. So like no matter what else you like, I think people can go over it, and it's so old school, and it just changes. It lets you slow down and appreciate the in-ring stuff. When they do have storylines, even they're very easy to comprehend. They'll be about money or the title or this guy screwed that guy. They're going to be very easy to follow. They're not going to have people set on fire or puking blood or barbed wire death matches, obviously, which, I watch both those products, so I'm not even really dissing those, but it's going to be a much more tame story situation. So yeah, Tuesday, I'm very much looking forward to, and they'll be off and running. So that is the main summary, I'd say, for the NWA. That's our NWA minute for this episode. It ended up going more like 10 minutes, but we're reviewing the whole show. So what do you want? But obviously the main reason to be here tonight for most people is WWE Fastlane just ended, and the road to WrestleMania is officially, we've hit all the other stops, and we're only about, I think, 20 days away now to WrestleMania. And one thing I will say, and we talked about this right before we went live, is I didn't realize this was the first show that you could only watch on Peacock.
Yeah,
so
that was a shock for me
my,
too, man.
My network thing and expected to watch it, and it kept like pushing me over to like you hit play on something, and it's like, oh, download Peacock. And I'm like, then why is this still here? Just delete it off the App Store. Like, why are you sending me to this thing that no longer works? So I had to make my Peacock account. I have like 7-day free trial for now to watch this. And I don't know about you, I missed I watched the pre-show, so I saw the US title stuff, and I guess they lost a member of their group, Mustafa Ali, with Retribution. One of the guys left when Riddle beat him in the pre-show, which was a fine match. I was kind of surprised of all matches. I guess it came down to like, what match are you going to put on the pre-show? Like all these other matches were kind of important. So I watched that, and then I go to check out so I missed the entire women's tag team match. I think I finally got that. I got it figured out basically right as that was ending. And so I can't speak much about the match, but I did see the slap heard around the world afterwards, where Sasha Banks just slapped the taste out of Bianca Belair's mouth, and that she sold that amazingly too. Like, she just had her eyes wide, like, I cannot believe this bitch just did this. So that was definitely that's where I kicked it. I don't know if you saw the whole thing. And also, we got Brian in the chat saying that wrestling needs an audience reaction for sure. And we know we've gone a year with really creative ways to not have just live people, warm bodies in the stands. And they've had to try their own different ways. And yeah, I think WrestleMania is going to have 45,000 people, it sounds like, or 35,000. So like, I think we're finally at the point where we are going to, AEW's been doing it for a couple months now. WWE, again, I don't see them going back to the Thunderdome right after WrestleMania. I think they're going to have some sort of plan otherwise. So yeah, it's true. I mean, most sports in general need it, but wrestling, I think, most importantly does.
Yo, yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of the piped in audience crowd stuff. It doesn't really need it. I'm okay with the silence, or hell, bring back the NXT guys, or bring back just family members, like how our games are.
Yeah.
They I mean, that's the best thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Like NXT, like AEW has the benefit of like a 20,000 seat amphitheater. I understand other wrestling companies don't have access,
and they're outside too. So
yeah, exactly. So
that's safer too.
Outside of them, I think the NXT has it right, because they have some of the virtual fans, just to let people know that that's an option. And then you have, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 people, around the ring. And I think those are wrestlers or friends and family or whatever, but that's the best. It's a mixture of both worlds. So you got the virtual fans and real people. So I think they're, outside of AEW having the benefit of a giant amphitheater outside, I think NXT is doing it best as far as, creative ways to get fans in. Oh
yeah. But right now, I would still say AEW got them beat just because they actually have fans there. You can go to the show.
I mean, Revolution, I think, ended up with like 1,300 people, which is, that might as well be 20,000 in the world we live in right now.
Yeah, and that did a lot for the show alone.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know I think you had similar issues about like having to download Peacock and get on this show and everything, but like, when were you able to jump into the show? Because like I said, it was right around the time that the slap happened for me.
I actually was able to watch the whole this whole match.
Okay.
I realized it like maybe right. I just got my phone out. Just went to WWE Network, clicked on Fastlane, and the Fastlane, and it said it told me to go to Peacock. I was like, oh crap! I was not expecting that, because remember I texted you. I was like, this is the last time that they're gonna have the network working. So,
yeah, and apparently they didn't.
They didn't. Yeah, they just said, you know what? Screw it. We're just gonna go straight to Peacock now. Which, I mean, it was gonna happen. I wasn't expecting it. But I came in right when right when Bianca came out.
Okay, so you got to see the whole match.
Yeah, I got to see the whole match basically.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the match was great. I liked it. The ending, I seen it coming. I think everyone's seen it coming with Reginald distracting Sasha, and oh no, the first thing that really happened was like when Sasha had Shayna in the bank statement. That's what it's called, bank statement. Yeah.
Bank statement.
Yeah, and Bianca was coming to take out Nia, and Nia kicked Bianca right into Sasha and Baszler, and I was like, oh, yep, there it is. There's the dissension right there. Right
That's
there.
all we need.
That's all we needed. And of course, Sasha got in Bianca's face. Bianca was gonna leave, and then Sasha was talking shit to her the whole time, just yapping. And Reginald came out and distracted Belair, and then Shayna rolled up. What's her Sasha?
I'm glad personally that they didn't win, because they're gonna have a great match at WrestleMania anyway, and they don't need the added story element of being tag team champions. Like we talked about it last week. They've done that with John Cena and Batista, and John Cena and Shawn Michaels, and like I don't think that the girls needed this. It was fine to give them the opportunity and them lose, and like it was worth it to get to that slap. Yeah. So like the fact
that was actually like the first time they actually laid hands on each other.
Right. So and now again we're 20 days away, so it's a good time to get that in there.
Now we're gonna start getting that real build for WrestleMania, and I'm really excited. This is one of the matches I'm really excited for. Yeah. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And the story has been great. I think it would have been a disservice to like hunker them down with the belts too. So,
yeah.
I'm glad they didn't, and I'm definitely looking forward to that match. Talk about like a storyline that really picked up. We talked about Big E's amazing promo the past week on SmackDown, the Intercontinental Championship match against Apollo Crews. I was still kind of working out the Peacock stuff during this, but this was a short match too. It was only about looks like 5 or 6 minutes. So we made kind of short work of Apollo, but I don't think this is over. I think we might.
Oh yeah,
stretch this to WrestleMania too.
This is going to WrestleMania.
Yeah, and when you have 2 days, you have 2 days of WrestleMania to fill. You can afford something like this too. So not much to say about this because it really was just to set up moving forward. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything to add for this.
Oh, I would definitely say them boys was hitting.
Oh yeah.
Them those splashes from Big E to the apron onto Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
Things are brutal, man, and you could just tell like Apollo was selling the hell out of it too.
Yeah,
and Big E was talking his shit, and I love that. I love this Big E, man. I love New Day Big E, pancakes. Yeah, I love that, but I love serious Big E. And I'm waiting for this.
This is something we've wanted for a while, and this is proof that like he could be a main eventer, and basically is already. Like eventually he'll want to go for the world title, but. They're using the Intercontinental title in an old school way now. They give it to a guy to see if he can present himself as a main eventer, and Big E's like knocking out of the park doing that right now.
Yeah, man, definitely. He's killing it.
So the next match too was supposed to be Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, and I'm not exactly upset that we didn't get this. I think so. Shane was like warming up, I guess, and faked an injury, has an injury. I don't know if like in real life something happened that he couldn't have this match. So as you normally do, whenever a storyline breaks down, what makes it better is you just throw Elias into the situation. So, Braun Strowman has a match with Elias that lasts like 3 minutes or something. And like, I don't know, this was a non-factor. This could have almost been on the pre-show if they would have like showed Shane McMahon being hurt on the pre-show. You could have maybe
just did this during the pre-show and then had the Riddle and Ali match in the main show.
Yeah, because that match was fine. That match was entertaining.
I heard that match was great.
Mm-hmm. And and Riddle even like he's like rolled around on a scooter backstage afterwards, and he runs into like Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's like, "Hey, good luck on your match tonight." And he starts like rambling about something, and the camera zooms in on him. And when he zooms out, Shinsuke's not there anymore. And he's like, I wonder where he went. Probably went to get his scooter. And then he just like rolls off. So Matt Riddle as champion has actually been really entertaining.
You know, people hate on the whole gimmick, but I actually really like it. It's really entertaining, man. Like he's really carrying what they're doing, what they're giving him, and he's making it sound so funny. And when they zoomed in on Matt Riddle, I already knew Shinsuke was gone, bro. Just because me, how we do TV stuff, just it was coming.
Yeah, I agree, and I understand because Matt Riddle can be more.
What's good? What's going on?
Yeah, I've got some people in the chat. Appreciate you guys checking it out. And so far, the live stream's working well. So maybe we'll do more of these, the live version, for like reviews of shows, individual shows. We'll probably keep with the regular format for the other things, but and then the podcast version will just go out afterwards because the live version is only on YouTube right now. But I think the Matt Riddle, what they mean is like he could do more. He could be a really good serious character, but this is kind of who he is at the same time. He's just like a stoner bro. So like it's okay to let him do this. But yeah, eventually he's someone like Big E. We see how like entertaining he can be and just kind of rolling around and throwing pancakes. But now he like flips the switch. So in a year or two, I wouldn't mind seeing Matt Riddle flip the switch and be this serious like MMA type guy that we know he can be as well. So, but for now, no, it's great, and it's really helping him with the U.S. title. What's funny about this next match, you got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and if like done right, that's like a WrestleMania main event quality thing. But this was just kind of filler. It was like the greatest filler feud of all time, and the match was good. I don't have any really complaints about it. Would have been cool if Shinsuke got the win, but I understand they got to pump up Seth Rollins still. So for a filler match, you really can't ask for anything more than Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh yeah, man, this match was great too. This was close to the top of the night. I was upset that the Apollo Big E match didn't end how I wanted it, but this match was good. This is when the show started picking up some speed, some real good speed, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, you could see like the Braun Strowman thing was going to send it to like a halt, so you needed something to pick it back up again, and this was it's almost like that's why this match was on, because it's like, listen, the Braun Strowman thing is going to stink up the joint, so we literally need you guys just to like pick the momentum of the show back up, and they definitely did that. We had the no holds barred match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, and I mentioned the great match they had on Raw that went like 35-40 minutes. It was going to be really hard to duplicate it. And I don't know that they did, but they really gave it their all to do it. This was, talk about boys be hit, and this match was, again, it's very hard to top what they did on Raw, but this being a pay-per-view match, it almost makes you wonder, like that match was so great, and Drew won. There was almost no reason to have a rematch, and they did, and he had the same outcome. So really, like, Sheamus is kind of bulletproof. He's been around long enough, but in a way, this like buries Sheamus a little bit because it happened twice in a row, so like, I guess the feud's got to be over now.
Yeah, I think that was the end of the feud, and we're gonna go to Bobby Lashley versus Drew. They already got it set up already.
Yeah.
Excited for that match. I thought this match was great too. I love the spots, the TV spot. I was hoping like it was like a bigger drop when Drew threw Sheamus into the TVs. I was like, oh man. Then when I saw Drew just walk down casually, I was like, damn, it would have been better if he was actually like fall down like how Kevin Owens did. That would have been awesome. But I mean, it was still great. It was still great. The props was nice in this match.
Yeah, definitely, and it's still a good showing. I don't know what Sheamus is going to do for Mania necessarily. I don't know if he's going to be like one of the favorites in like the Andre Battle Royal or something, if they don't give him like something else to do or whatever. But yeah, so obviously Drew's going on to the main event, and then Sheamus will have to rebound here. After this is probably my favorite thing that happened on the show was Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. You knew this wasn't going to be a straight up match, but I didn't quite expect this, and I think it was better than what I even had in mind. When Orton goes to the before the match even starts, when he's up on the apron and he goes to do his pose and the blood starts spewing out of him again already, I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be one of those. And obviously WrestleMania is gonna have people, so this is one of the last big storylines that they're gonna do in the Thunderdome setting. So they're like, all right, we got to pull out all the tricks that we can't get away with when people are in the stand. So, he goes to walk towards Bliss, and like Kane's fire pyro comes up, and the lights fall in front of him, and just all this crazy stuff. And then, did he ever actually get his hands on her, or no? I thought she'd maybe eat a RKO because she's done it in the past, but he never even really got his hands on her.
Yeah.
So, and then we haven't had a good guy come from underneath the ring spot in a long time. So this was a great way to do it. The hand comes out, grabs Orton. I thought he was just going to drag him down, but this worked out, I think, even better. The Fiend comes back, and he's all crispy, and it's very Friday the 13th level stuff here, and hits him with Sister Abigail, and Bliss pins. So let the record show that Alexa Bliss has defeated Randy Orton in a one-on-one match. This was short too. I'm glad they did not drag this out. I could see a version of this where they made it 12 minutes, and it's oh god, just I get it. It was cool, but you passed cool for lame. And now we're at the point where it's just it was perfect amount of time. I think it was a 4-minute thing altogether, and it was exactly what needed to happen here.
Yeah, I really like this match too. I love the new mask for the Fiend. I love the new look. I knew something was weird when Alexa was coming out, because I don't know when they was playing her music. I don't know if you could hear it was doing the whole jitteries,
glitching up.
Yeah, it was it's glitching. And then at first they started with the old Alexa Bliss theme song, and then they went to the Firefly Funhouse theme song, and that's when they started really glitching out. And I was like, yeah, he's coming, man. He has to. And I called it from jump. I was like, hey, he's coming out this match just because we know that it was going to be an intergender match, and we're getting that match at WrestleMania between the Fiend versus Randy.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I was at WrestleMania 33 when Bray Wyatt was the WWE champion walking in, and Orton beats him, and they did the stupid projection screen of maggots on them. That was crap, and now they're gonna finally get the chance to revitalize that, and with the fans there for the first time. This I wouldn't even mind if this is the first match or two. Well, it does got to be at night, I think, to do service, since it is outside. But this needs to be that perfect match, right after the sun sets on one of the two nights. Because we've seen in the past, when Sting was at Mania when it was in California, and it was broad daylight, it kind of ruined the ambiance of Sting for that one. So I definitely hope they take into account the time this match goes down in, and I think it shouldn't be a problem because it's not going to start till 7 or 8 anyway. But no, they can do some cool stuff with this. I'm looking forward to his entrance. A Fiend entrance on a WrestleMania stage is going to be next level.
I won't be surprised, man, if it's a cinematic match.
I don't know that you can. Remember we were talking about with the street fight with AEW, and it's probably came to see this. I mean, I could see it starting out that way or having elements of it, but I think you need to give people these guys in a ring to some extent. You could be right. I could totally see it.
I would. I'm gonna say I wouldn't mind it being in the ring because I think it's gonna be a good match regardless. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Fiend, if it's a cinematic match, just like a Firefly Funhouse match, just like our last year.
That would be pretty cool, and I wouldn't mind it sitting at home watching it. I would probably prefer it, but I'm just trying to think for the first show back with people. You want to reward them for being there as much as you can, I would think.
Yeah, you're right.
But this was the perfect setup, and obviously we know we're getting Orton in the Fiend in some capacity. Like I said, could be Firefly Funhouse, which I think that's the one thing that people would be okay with because they obviously love the John Cena one. And what if the Fiend just the next several years just has a Firefly Funhouse match against a guy that's wronged him in the past, just every year.
That would be great.
It's almost like the new Undertaker thing, every year somebody gets put into this universe and they got to try and fight their way out. Cena couldn't do it. Hopefully Orton can't do it. And then
you could go
blind, maybe somebody finally does it. That would be a great way to handle it, I think.
Yeah.
So then we got the main event here. This went a cool 30 minutes. You could tell when the match started and you look over and it's 9:15. You're like, all right, they got some time for this one. You got Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against Daniel Bryan with Edge as the special enforcer. I never like the enforcer stipulation. Just make him the referee because that's where it's going to go eventually. This match itself was great. I loved that they showed that Daniel Bryan had the ability to tie this guy into pretzels and stretch him, and like that's how, if he's gonna beat Roman, that's how it's gonna happen. He's not gonna like overpower him, and like even back when he was like peak popularity, he would just kind of run around and drop kick this and flying knee and flying headbutt and everything and dive outside. He's very much, you know, in his later career and everything, he's just the perfect like wrestler, and his ability to just like tie you into pretzels and stuff. And I think that's the character Daniel Bryan always wanted to portray, and now he's getting the chance to. So this was very believable on how Daniel Bryan could have and technically did win the match to some extent. The whole thing where Edge gets involved and Daniel Bryan accidentally hits him with the chair, and of course he's got a rebuttal. I didn't love that because it's like, man, Edge, you've been around long enough. I think you know when someone hits you with a chair on purpose or not. Like it seemed like he got tricked on that a little too quickly.
Yeah, you seen it coming too. When I seen Edge behind Roman, I was like, "Oh yeah, here's the spot. Daniel Bryan's gonna hit him, and then Edge is not gonna be happy about it, and that's how you screw it, Daniel Bryan, and that's how you make it a triple threat match at WrestleMania."
Yep, I texted Don right before the match was even over. Actually, I'm like, "Oh, we're getting a triple threat at Mania," which I really don't mind because you're getting Bobby and Drew, and if you just had like Roman and Edge, it's almost like two of the same thing. So making it a triple threat, and honestly, like I love Daniel Bryan. Even if Edge wins or whatever, he could just be there to eat the pin. Like he could just have a great showing and eat the pin. Like even if Edge wins, he can not beat Roman, and then that, you know, carries forward. Like I lost my title without getting pinned, and Heyman can go off on that, and it'll make, you know, rematches down the line. I could see that being the case.
Yeah, I would say, but I had one gripe for this match. My only gripe was where the hell was the other referee?
Yeah, he eventually showed up, and I don't know why he didn't just come down immediately. You know?
Yeah. Once that ref bump happened, I was like, okay. So, but they did make sense of it though, which I was happy about that, because they said like once that referee went down, it was Edge's turn to
that. I get. They at least explained.
They explained
why
it.
that was
So,
the case.
and usually, you know,
you don't get that.
They don't get that, and we actually got that here. So I'm not even mad about that. So, but then I guess what they could say, the logic is, oh, Edge walked out, so that's why the next referee came. That's came
true.
in.
You're giving them an out. I don't think they're going to take it, but at least you thought it through. No, that was great. And like, yeah, again, I don't love Edge kind of getting fooled into that, because again, he's been around long enough to know the difference, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that we're getting the triple, I think it's gonna be a fantastic match. Even if Daniel Bryan is there just to eat the pin, it's kind of like the Rollins Nakamura thing. It's like, if this is filler, like this is the best filler I could ask for. So if like you're throwing somebody in just to eat a pin, like Daniel Bryan is the best performer you could ask to do that.
Yeah.
So
he could sell his ass.
And honestly, there's still a chance that he randomly wins this match. Like it's not every guy is very. Again, I don't think they want to beat Roman. There was the moment, of course, where Roman was tapping out with no referee there, and I love the fact that he wasn't, you know, full blown slapping the mat. He was just barely like that. Was a perfect way to portray that, and it plants the seed that, okay, maybe if enough things go crazy, Roman can be beaten, and it just puts that little seed of doubt. Nothing major. It's not like he's like, you know, screaming for his mama and tapping the mat. So it's just that little seed of, okay, Daniel Bryan is totally at this level, you know, 100%. And Edge is, of course, won the Royal Rumble. And, like, you don't get triple threats at Mania often because it doesn't often make sense, but this is one of the rare times that it does.
Yeah. And, like, I'm fine with it because I think all three of these guys are great workers. They're one of the best workers in the business today. And you know, Daniel Bryan's technically sound, and he's over enough. He can take the pin if you really want Edge to be champion. He could take the pin, and then you have the fight for Roman trying to get back the championship from Edge. You actually get that one-on-one match at some pay-per-view. Hell, SummerSlam if you want.
I mean, built in, like, if wrestler A beats wrestler C, the next match could just be against the guy that didn't get pinned, and then, you know, you can eventually work the other guy back in and everything. So they're, you know, they really can't go, like, if Roman retains, cool, that's fine. Like, there's nothing real wrong with that. If Edge wins the title, it's a great story, And if Daniel Bryan wins it, it's probably going to be because he's only got about a year left of full-time competition. He's pretty much all but said that. There's really no bad winner. It's just a matter of how you go about it. I think you can screw this up.
Yeah, this match, I want this match to slap hard.
Yeah. And this is more than likely main event night 2. This is probably how you end WrestleMania in general, I think is how that needs to go.
Now, here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's main event night 1?
I think it should be the 2 title matches should main event
night 1 and 2.
Yeah, like it's they're world championships for a reason. If you want to put Banks and Belair in one of those spots, I'm cool with that too. But I think it needs to be 2 of those 3 matches. You know, a men's world champion and the other men's world champion, which is why you probably shouldn't have 2 world champions anyway. But then you got, and then if you do Banks and Belair, I'd be okay with that too. But 2 of those 3 need to do it, I think. What about you?
Same here. I really, really want Banks and Belair to take over for night 1. But I feel like if you're gonna have Belair win, I feel like they should have him in night 2, and then have Roman and Edge on night 1, just because you want to leave. Oh, she headlined WrestleMania, and she's the new champion.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd work out. And I'm curious if like you have this ability with this, like if Bianca wins the title main event night 1, can we see her night 2 like backstage like celebrating? Like that's not WrestleMania. Always been one day.
Yeah.
So and obviously last year when it was 2 days, they really just rushed in and recorded a bunch of things. They didn't even know what order the matches were going to be in when they shot them. They just got them all in.
Yeah, everything was just shot randomly.
So again, it was even if if Bobby retains, right, then on night 2, the Hurt Business are up in the skybox like partying, to like carry over the storylines from night 1 into night 2. I think it's something I would love to see.
That would be pretty dope.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
All right, guys, I think that's going to about wrap it up here. I'm glad this first live episode went pretty seamless. I want to thank Brian again for chiming in, and Rosville as well. I've hooked up with this dude on Twitter recently. We kind of followed each other. We were talking about the NWA. He's like me, very happy that the NWA is back. I appreciate him clicking on and showing some support there, so I appreciate him checking it out. Moving forward, if we're going to do it live, we're going to let you know ahead of time. This was kind of the maiden voyage of it. The other ones will just be normal. And if you're a normal podcast listener, don't worry. Those episodes will just be up the next day like they are when we record anyway. So for that, I think it's going to do it. I hope everybody enjoyed wrestling over the weekend. We got plenty coming this week. We got obviously Raw tomorrow. AEW Elevation is now, we now have a AEW show on Monday too. And NXT is coming up. And later this week or next, we'll be previewing WrestleMania and catching up on some AEW stuff like the Pinnacle, for example. We haven't gotten to touch on that too much. MJF's new group, he finally got his name and everything. So we'll be hitting back with you guys either later this week or next week. And thank you guys for checking out the first live edition of the Wrestle Report. This is episode 22. I'm Phil. That's Don. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.